I'm Claire Cousins, and this is another one of those extra videos. Somebody requested ribbon embroidery, and in a previous video a couple of months ago now, I dyed up some silk ribbon, so I'm going to be using that. So come and join me at my desk. This is some silk ribbon embroidery that I did quite a few years ago now. It's actually before I was married, and it's our silver wedding, so that's how long ago this was. And unfortunately the silk has actually faded, so I'm not even sure if you can see it. The more recent piece that I did was this top of this box. I don't have many pieces because the pieces that I've done I've already sold, so this is the only things I've got left. But that's on hand dyed velvet as well, so that's just to show you. Right, so today then I'm going to do a combination of this sort of look with these sort of colours, and I'm going to do it on a brooch pin. I've decided I'm going to make a brooch pin. Now I've chosen this fabric. It's actually an upholstery fabric, so I'm going to see how that gets on. Might struggle with it, but I've chosen it because it's quite an open weave. So, and what I've also done to reinforce the brooch is I've cut some plastic from a milk bottle. So it's just a small milk bottle. What I might do is cut another piece, and because this is still quite floppy on its own, I might do another piece in that. I've also cut myself a backing piece of pelmet violin. It could be just very stiff felt. So that's that. The materials I've got so far. These are the hand dyed ribbons that I produced last week. I'm going to start off with the rose that sort of spirals round. It's these ones, and that starts off with a very simple stitch with just regular thread. One, two, three, four, five. Put another one in, it's going to be 6. I think we put 7 in. Right, you've got to have an odd number of up and downs. So I'm going to put a rose there. I'm also going to put a bud just here, and I'm going to put a very small bud just there. I might even put one just here, and then I'm going to have the leaves coming down here like that, and they'll be coming off here like that. Okay, so first things first is you want some pink thread. Now you can use just machine thread, you can use embroidery thread. I've actually chosen just a double thickness of machine thread. And I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm just going to sew out onto these little arms I've marked out. Now the pen I've just used, it's called a Friction. It is a pen that will disappear with heat, so if I choose to iron it at the end, I could. Having said that, it would spoil the look, so I'm kind of hoping it will cover that up. If it doesn't cover it up, I shall probably heat it from the back by hovering with the iron. I won't press it because that loses all the 3D. Okay, so I've done a star with the stitching. I'm just going to knock that off. And cut it off. And then I'm going to change over to the ribbon. Now to think about what colour ribbon, what size ribbon. There's different thicknesses. Now I think, hang on, I have to remember, that's the 2mm. I've got a 4mm, which is this one, and then I think that's a 6mm. Let me just double. No, it's 7mm. It's this one. I think I might go. I fancy a very blousy rose. I think I might go for Decisions. Don't know whether to go for that one because I quite like it. It's quite distressed looking, quite like that. Or do I go for the really in-your-face vibrant? Okay, I think I'm going to go for the distressed. Not entirely sure how much I'm going to need. I think I'll go for, ooh, what's that? 20 centimetres long. I'm going to cut it at an angle to reduce it fraying. Got the worst pair of scissors ever. And also it helps with threading through the needle if it's cut at a diagonal, she says. My eyesight's not so good. Now you do want a needle that's got quite a long eye. So some of the Chanel, some of the darning needles, quite good at that. Crewel needles, embroidery crewel needles are quite good for that. Once you've threaded it, if you go through the end like that, whoops, that will give you a knot here. And now, if I go through there, that should stop that falling off my needle, like that. Okay. From the back I'm going to come up, but I'm going to come up just slightly, I don't know if you can see that, slightly off from the middle to one side, and then all I'm going to do, just make sure it's okay, is I'm going to go, you can use the blunt end, I'm going to use this end, you go under, so you go over one, under next, over, under, and you just weave your way around it. And the trick is not to pull too tight. And the reason why you need an odd number is that because when you come back, you then overlap with the under over. So where I was going under earlier, I should now be going over and under where I went over earlier. So that's why you need odd number of legs. And you can pull it and puggle it, squeeze it in to make the very centre. There we go. Now that buzzing noise you might be able to hear. It's my washing machine telling me to put my washing out. I'm just going to finish off this rose and then I'll come back and do some more. Now you might see it's naturally twisted. I could, if I want to keep that natural twist, I could. If I don't want to, I'd flatten it off and open it up before I do the next stitch. And as I say, it should alternate under, over, under, over. And if you push it in, can you see here, you can see the stitches here, but hopefully that one should cover that stitch. And you just keep going until you're happy with the blousiness of your rose. So the trick is not to pull too tight. Quite tight in the centre and then loosen up as you get to the outer petals. think I might keep going and use this up. I've got enough for one more. Might do, but I need to go down to the next one. I'm going to go, it's over this one. I would normally be going over that, no, over this one, and then I'm going to go down to the back here. I've only got that tiny little bit left. Hopefully that's enough just for me to finish off. Oh, let me finish off. Yes. And there's the first rows. Now how to deal with the back. What you can do is you just cut your needle off, and then when you come to do your embroidery for the stems is you actually sew through it. So rather than put a knot in the ribbon, you actually stitch through that to hold it down when you come to do your actual stitching of a stem or branch, so it holds it in place. So that's the first type of rose. Right, now the other type of stitch I'm going to do is actually like a lazy daisy, and I'm going to do that with that effect on this larger rose here. Now a minute ago I just used a 7mm ribbon. I think this time I'm going to change down to the 4mm for this. I don't need that much. Let me just try and visualise how much I think I might need. I'm going to go for about 10cm for this. Obviously cut yourself more or less depending on how many roses you're doing and if you've got them clumped together. And I didn't quite cut that angle very well. Okay. So I've ready the ribbon. I'm going to go through the end so it doesn't come off the needle like that. I'm going to sew through the other far end for the knot. I just do a little knot. If you put it all the way down, it obviously doesn't work because it's going to come out. It's not like a major knot, it's just enough to stop it. Right, I'm going to come up, and as I mentioned, this one's a bit like a lazy daisy. So I'm going to come up from the back, very carefully check where that non-real knot is, make sure it doesn't come through too quickly. And then I'm going to go back to where I've just come up. So back down to where I've come up, and you can actually catch that knot there if you're really worried about it coming out. And then what I'm going to do is, before I complete, can you see I've got the loop there, I'm going to come up and I'm going to catch that loop before it finishes forming. So it's, as I say, it's like a lazy daisy chain stitch. And there you go, I've got a petal. So this is sort of like a rose that hasn't quite started to open, it's just a half started rose. Like that. And I think I might put 3 of these in. So that's one side. Back to the middle. Come up. I can, if I want to, is be careful how I lay the ribbon out like that. Put that down. And I'm going to do one more time just over this side here. Come up. and back. So this is almost like a rose that's just beginning to open up. And put it down like that. Hopefully you can see that. Now I'm umming and ahhing whether to put another one in the centre. Kind of wish I'd done that one in the middle a bit bigger, so it came down a bit more. I think that'll be okay. And this time I'm going to use a different method of finishing off. I'm just going to go through the last bit of ribbon. Oh, doesn't want to come up. There you go. I'm going to put one more little bud just here. Shame I haven't got quite enough. I'll cut that off my thing. Now this time I'm going to show you a different technique for this one. And I'm going to do, oh, I can't make up my mind whether to do it like a, I think I might do this in a richer colour. Yeah, I'm going to do it in this richer colour. And I'm going to make up my mind whether to do a French. I might do the same technique actually. I was umming and ahhing about a French knot. Still umming and ahhing about a French knot. I'll tell you what, I'll do a French knot style one, and then I might actually do it, say that I might do it more like a bullion. This is the 2mm ribbon, and this time it's not as good at pulling through, so I've just done a double wrap around my needle. I think it's called a quilter's knot, so I've got a proper knot now this time. Bringing that up. As I was umming and ahhing whether to do a French knot, bullion knot, or a different stitch altogether. I think I might try the bullion one. No, let's sort this through properly. So I'll go back down, come up, and then I'm going to wrap 1, 2, keep it loose actually, 2, 3, 4, that'll be enough. I'm going to pull it up, pull it through. Let me do it. Like it's not to put it, and then to go back down. That's a very, very, very tight bud, but it's, you can play around with the ribbon to pull it out. There we go. So I've got a little tight bud. I might do another little one. Should I do another little one? I think I want that as a pet leaf. I might do another one this way. So I'll come out to where I want it to go. Go back. And very gently wrap the ribbon. Now this time you see I didn't actually thread it through the needle, which gives me a little bit of give if I need it. 1, 2, 3, 4, one more, 5. I'll go do 5. Oh no, it's coming down. you put it through it. No, that's come undone, but I'm going to grab it anyway. I've got it. Gently flattening that out. I'm going to take the needle back through, ready, so I can rethread this ribbon. As I say, this 2mm ribbon, you can use it almost like regular embroidery floss. And you can see there's the little bud. And again, I can arrange it, move it about till I'm happy with it. Can even pull it tighter. Even up the loops. And there we go. There's the bud. I might leave this loose for now because I will sew it in with the embroidery thread when I come to do some green stitching. I'll talk about the green stitching. I'm just going to grab my thread, and this has been hand dyed. This is just 6-stranded embroidery thread. Now, depending on how thick you want your stalks, you can use 1, 2. I'm going to go for 2. I've got 2 strands of hand dyed thread. I'm just trying to thread my needle. Got to do a knot in the back. I know a lot of people don't like knots, but it's only a little brooch, doesn't matter. Right, I'm going to have a stem. Oh, I did say I was going to catch that, didn't I? So I'm going to catch this now. I need to pop some little stitches around the thing, so let me just catch the back of the ribbon. I've caught the back of the ribbon. To show you there. That will stop that from coming out. And what I think I might do, I actually think I will do a lazy daisy, as if there's like a little petal that protects the leaf, rather, that protects the rose. There. I'm going to do one on the other side. That's better. Pop a little stalk just there. Oh, a leaf just there with a lazy daisy stitch. I'm going to do another one this side. One more on the other side of this other bud. Like that. Sweet little cluster. And then I'm just going to do a running stitch, or I could do a chain stitch, I could do any type of stitch. What I might do is just a simple running stitch, or back stitch. Actually, I'm going to do a back stitch just to get back to that rose, like that. And then I think I'm going to have another set of stitches going down here for the leaves in a minute. The leaves aren't there yet, but if I just do a simple running stitch down, I'm going to have a couple of leaves in a minute. I'm going to come back, fill the gaps, because I want to do, you won't see these stitches in a minute because these will be, most of these will be covered with the leaves, but I am going to pop some stitches in here, because what I'd like to do just here is I'm going to do like a little satin stitch going over there like that to form the base of the rose. like that. Whoops, that wasn't very good. Let's do that one again. There we go. That's a bit better. And then I'm going to just do a couple of stitches coming up here into the rows. Like that. And they form that little bit of protective green that you see at the back. Like that. Okay, and then you'll notice that because I've done all that, it's actually held all that ribbon in place. Now I could go back, fill in the gap to the rows in the centre. What I might do is come up here and have a stalk just there to a leaf there in a minute. I'm just going to finish that off at the back. Just got enough thread. There we go. Not the neatest of backs, but I won't see it later anyway. Right, now for the leaves. Now, I don't know whether to go for the 6, 7mm. I think I might have some nice blousey petals, so I'm going to go. She's saying that I quite like that one. No, I'm going to go for this one. I'll give me quite blousey leaves. They're not too blousey. This is when you have to faff about thinking, oh, how blousey do I want my leaves, or how big do I want them to look. Yeah, no, I think I'll go for the 7mm. And I'm going to go for about, oh, I don't know what's that, make through a ruler, so it's about 30 centimetres. Again, always best to cut on an angle because then it's easier. Well, one, it stops it from fraying, and two, it's easier to thread. Now, if you want to get hold of some of this silk ribbon, I'll put the link below. Go through there to hold it on. Hold on. I quite like that dark bit. Oh well. And then sew through the end again to create not a brilliant, as I say, not a brilliant knot, but it's enough to slow it down. Come on. There you go. Kind of gives you a sort of knot. Now this is a different stitch again. Okay, I was about to show you the leaf as I lost power. So a good point to start and restop again, lucky for me. I'm going to put in a leaf right at the very bottom here. So I'm just coming up, she says. There we go. Okay, not pulling too hard. Now the leaves, I'm going to have, should I just have one here? Or should I have, no, I think I might have two. Now this one is different, it's a different stitch again. And you can use this for your petals. You don't have to choose any of these methods I've showed you so far. This is one where you go back into the ribbon itself. Now if you go central into the ribbon, you get a very central looking petal. If you go slightly to the side, you'll get a different shape of petal or leaf, depending on what it is. And I'm just going to wiggle my way back through. There we go. What's happened there? There you go. And it's there, there's the petal. I'll do that again because that, for some strange reason, got caught up somewhere. So I'll pull that up. not sure. Oh, it's catching on the other ribbon. Hang on. Sometimes you have to just check underneath that you've not got too many thicknesses or layers. It's not keen. That's also why, another reason why you need quite an open weave base material, and why you need silk ribbon, because if you try to use polyester ribbon, you can use polyester ribbon, I have done it before, but it's not, I found, not particularly successful. And you'll see that I'm just positioning where I want the stitch to go. A bit bigger. And I'm just going to go back down. Gently pull, and that's your petal. So I'm going to carry on doing these up here. What I might do is I might have like you know how you get the rose leaves are often in sets of 5. So I'm going to have the base of it here, and then I'm going to have 4 going up. You can see what I've done with this one. I've actually puffed it up to get it to a bit more 3D. Going for the centre. There we go. That's a nice one. That one, I'm pleased with that one. I'm going to come up and I'm going to have a petal this side and a leaf this side and a leaf that side. At the back, I'm not pulling too much. I'm going to come here. Like that. I'm going to come the other side now. Some people I've seen get the little iron out and try and iron it. Oh, I don't bother with that. Put it down, and then I'm going to do a bit higher up. I don't think how much higher though. I might come to there and do the one this side. Just untwisting it a little bit because I want the fullness of the ribbon, like that. Pop that in there like that. And then I'm going to have that one that comes this side. Now I've got to think about where I want this one to go without it covering this rose. So I think it's going to come up. There. Position where I want it to go, and I think it will go perfectly just there. Oops, now I poured it through too tight. So if you do this, you can just wake it out a little bit and reposition where you want it. They are very blousy leaves, aren't they? And then I think I might put one, just one here. Don't know, I'll put one in. I might actually put 2. Oh, that's actually pulled the other silk ribbon up. Now I could have that one going that way and then another one going that way. I think I might do that. So I'm going to have one going this way. can probably tell by now that I'm actually making this as I go along, making it up. No, not one. Going the other way. What's that got caught in? Bit of ribbon. Got caught up in a bit of ribbon. It's got caught up in itself. That's not good. Yeah, avoid doing that, because as you can see, it's going to be okay actually, but just be aware that that can happen. Give me a bit of a strange twist actually. Could use that to my advantage there, I think. Or shall I pull it back out? There we go. And then one more petal just here. Not petal, I keep saying petal, it's a leaf. That. Oh, now I feel like I've got a gap here. So I'm going to have to put one in there. Definitely have to put one in there. Better. And then I think I'll just have a leaf here. I might put 3 there. Put 1 to begin with. See how that looks. Do open it up and flatten it out a little bit if you want it to be more blousy. That's 1. Yeah, I think I might put 3 there. Then one more. One more? Don't just go. So I see how round that is. I think I want it to go that way. And there we go. I'm tempted now to put a couple of little roses here on this side because if I like that I can see. Oh no, it might be okay. Might not need that might be enough. I'm actually just using the clear backing shape to see how that might look. Tempted to put something here. Oh, do I put something there or not? Does look like it needs something in that gap, doesn't it? Just here. Cut off any loose bits. Or I could just put my initials there. I don't know. What I could do actually is just use that little bit there just to help me out lay it on and just see how it looks. Do I want a little bud in there? Possibly. Right, so what I'll do, I'll pop a little bud in there and then I'll get back to you and show you the next stage. Okay, I've managed to just get a tiny little bit of a kiss bud rose in there. That's just with a straight stitch. Okay, right, next stage. I'm going to cut myself another piece of this. So I'm just getting the plastic bottle, cutting it out, placing that on there for the best fit. I think it's there. And I'm just using my paper scissors. Oops, just to cut it out. What I might have to do is stick them together to get a more accurate cut. So I stick them together next with some sticky back. This is the thinnest one I've got. Should have got the thicker one out. Okay. I've got some sticky back tape. No, I don't think I've cut that brilliantly. What I can do is, well, it's not that bad actually. And just neaten up. I have to say that's made it much more rigid, so I'd recommend that at least 2 if not 3 layers of plastic bottles, and that's quite good to be using something that would not otherwise be thrown away. And if it ends up in the washing machine like a lot of my brooches do, it won't completely get destroyed. So I'm going to pop that on there. I think what I might do is put some more tape on there. Oops. It's good tape, this one. Can't remember where I got it from though. It's not an easy, unfortunately not an easy lift one where you've got like an edge. It hasn't got any tape on, so it's a little bit fiddly to get off. No. You can get a pin actually and flick it off with a pin. No, I didn't do that. And then I'm going to pop it on the back of that, hopefully centrally. Like that. And then hope that should then go around there like that. That's the intention. It is quite bulky, and whether that will is yet to be seen. So need to put some more tape on the back to temporarily hold it, because once that's held down, that goes on the top. I can then do a little oversew. Right, you can't really see it, but there is tape all the way around. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to do the side, and then I'm going to do the two ends. Now, if it was a thinner fabric like a calico, what I could do is do it like how I do covered buttons, and you would do a running stitch around and you'd pull it up. Unfortunately, this is such a thick fabric, that method won't work. So, which is why I've gone for this gluing it down. And then I'm going to try and ease this here. So I'm going to go for the middle and then try and sort of ease that in. So I'm going to go for the middle there and then ease that in. Go in the middle for there and ease that in. And as I said, luckily this is a good tape. It's holding quite nicely. It's only a temporary measure because I'm going to pop this on the top, and then I'm going to do a little slit stitch around the outside edge like that. Keep it neat. What I do need to do though first would be to actually sew a brooch pin on the back. Okay, well, I've got my brooch pin. This is a tiny little 2-hole one. It is tiny. If you pull it straight in the middle, the brooch can flop about, so I tend to like to put it more towards the height, the top ends, so it will dangle from it. And I also like to make sure that the pin opening is facing down, so if it uncatches for whatever reason, it might not necessarily fall off too quickly. And I've got double thickness thread. I'm going to go up 1 hole, and I'm actually going to go down the other hole as just a holding bar. Don't need to do that, especially if these holes are far apart. And that is just, I'm going to do that again, because normally what I would do is actually I would come out on the outside, sew in, come in the outside and sew in. And I do that at least twice. It's double thread, so at least twice per hole. Like that. And then come back and do the other hole. Now the thing with doing this is, because I put it's intended to be the top of the brooch, I then have to be extra careful when I pop it on the back that it is definitely at the top. Outside, middle, outside, into the middle. Now I always like to give it a good tug, and people say, oh, it's going to fall off if you give it a tug. Well, yes, because then if it falls off now, you can make sure it is securely stitched on. I give that a double knot, so I'm going to go underneath the last stitch and then go through the loop. That's a nice, good, strong knot. Don't cut too close to the knot. It's on the inside, nobody can see it. Okie dokie. So that's the top edge. I'm going to close that now. So this is what I mean about, I've got to make sure it is at the top. So that's the top. So I need to make sure that goes that way round. I'm going to flip it across. I'm going to put some more tape across the back here. Oops. As I said, it is only temporary, these tapes. It's enough just to hold it so we can sew it. Not in the back. Right, okay, so make sure that's all back where we want it. Doesn't matter too much if it comes undone as we're going, because as I say, it's the slip stitching around the outside edge that's actually going to be what's really holding it. It's just to help when we go round like that. So that's going to be stuck there like that. I can just slide any threads in. Okay, so hide my knot. I think this needle's too thick. I'll try, might be alright. I've done it double thickness. I don't really know why I did that, because I don't normally sew slip stitch with double thread. Just catching both sides. Make sure that's pushed in. Catch. Catch. Push it in as I'm going. Now I'm struggling to see what I'm doing because I've got the camera in my face, but hopefully you get the idea that I'm actually going around and just slip stitching that edge just there and neaten up all the way around. I'm going to do the rest off the camera so I can actually see what I'm doing, and I'll show you what it looks like when I've done. Okay, this is it finished, and you can see it's all been slip stitched around that outside edge. That's nice and secure. It's actually quite rigid, so it's really good. I did am about whether to put some ribbon around that outside edge. I mean, I've got different sorts, but I'm not sure. I think it might make it look a bit too like a rosette. But that is something you could, you know, if you fancied adding some trim. I mean, more of a Victorian lace could be stitched on. I don't know. As I say, I'm going to leave mine as it is. But you could, if you've got the patience, pleat on a little bit of ribbon. Make it more vintage, but I like it as it is. So I'm quite tempted to outline it in a blanket stitch, or even a piece of braid like that. Or is that now looking a little bit, I don't know, perhaps that looks too much. It's food for thought anyway. So that's how to do ribbon embroidery, and if you want to turn it into a brooch, it's also how to turn it into a brooch. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon. Bye bye for now.